We've all heard that saying that money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there next to oxygen. Well, tonight we're going to learn about oxygen and how that it can help our body, how it can help our health. And about a week ago, he told me about how he had met Fred Neal in Marshall, Texas. And I've had several conversations with him this week, and it's been about this. I've been fascinated with some of the information that I've heard about how Fred has learned how to supersaturate water with oxygen. And so with that, Fred, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can share with us. You can talk, you can take questions, you can whatever you want to do. It's the floor is yours, Fred.
Okay, thank you, sir. You hear me all right now?
I hear you fine.
Okay, let me start off with this medical disclaimer here. The information we'll be sharing on this conference call or in my emails is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through my email is for general information purposes only. You're encouraged to confirm any information obtained from or through this conference call or my emails with other sources, and review all information regarding any medical condition or treatment with your physician. Excuse me. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking medical treatment because of something you've heard, read, or accessed from this conference call or my emails. And my name is Fred Neal. And with that, well, we will start out. And Donald, I'm open to you breaking in at any time. If you want it to go a particular way, well, I want to just shoot from the hip. I know we've got a bunch of folk here. I recognize several of them, and I recognize Gary from Pennsylvania. And Gary and I have known each other for 100 years, more or less, but quite a relationship we've had over the years. And he has walked with me through a lot of things that we've done in times past. And then I've got other folks that's come on board within the last few months. And we're not promoting water as such. We're promoting a technology. There's a lot of people out there in the water business, but it just so happens that we use water to convey our technology. We have applied for the name of Liquid Manna as our trademark, and it appears right now that we'll be able to have that as our trademark. First of all, I'd like to say that I am biased in one particular direction that all of you need to know about. And you can either agree with me or disagree, but at least you know where I'm coming from. But based on what I have read, and I am not a medical type at all. I fainted at the sight of blood and did so when I was being terminated from the Army in Fort Hamilton, New York. But to get back to my bias, oxygen, I believe, is a healing fluid for all situations. So that's where I'm coming from. Now, I know there's exceptions to all rules, but that one is the one that I'm holding on to with a firm grip, because it really does minister to my thinking and everything else that I have learned over the years. In the latter part of 2004 and the early part of 2005, I had polymyalgia. I didn't know what that was. I was totally incapacitated. I was on my deathbed. My wife knew that there was going to be a funeral and it was going to be mine. And at times I felt better off had I been dead, but whenever it takes you 2 hours to get out of bed, that's not fun, especially when you've basically never been sick a day in your life. But I had been working on some technology from an engineering standpoint. And I had skirted with the issue of oxygen for a few years, not really understanding a great deal. But during this sickness that I had, I finally, my daughter suggested I go to a doctor, and I said, well, I don't have a doctor. Well, isn't there a clinic near you? I was in northern Arkansas at the time, and I said, yes, there is one down there. So I went down to this little clinic, and a doctor out of Harrison came out to this clinic about 3 days a week. And through a series of tests and all, he analyzed the fact that I had polymyalgia. And I said, well, what is it? He said, it's an inflammation of the blood vessels. Well, that didn't mean a great deal to me, except I must have been one solid blood vessel, because there was not a point on me that was not in pain. But he put me on prednisone and gave me the option of $100 a month for life, or continue on a day-to-day like I was doing, and asked me which I wanted, and I said I don't want either one of them. But in the meantime, I had the presence of mind then to translate some technology and with the oxygen and over into water. And after I got a direction on which way I was going, well, then within 30 days, well, I was totally out of pain and haven't had any pain since. And I'm 78 years old, and my wife is 81. And we're both pain-free. And it kind of disturbed me a little bit whenever the doctor didn't know what caused it, but yet he knew that there was a drug, prednisone, that was supposed to be taken for it. Well, I didn't. I had problems balancing that in my mind, because if you don't know, well, how are you going to know what's going to correct it? So anyway, I said, well, if there's any way of getting out of this thing, I'm going to, and praise God we did. And I had people around me that would come in and fire my furnace, and they would do other things to help us while we were down and out, and they saw what had happened, and they wanted to get on the water. Well, okay, fine, we'll sure let you have it. And first thing you know, well, people that had been being sick all winter long had no more colds or no more flus, and my telephone guy that was working with me there said, well, my mother has come down with the fastest growing breast cancer, and said, do you think this water might help her? I said, I don't have a clue. But I said, what do we have to lose? Well, we got her on it, and she goes back to the doctor after 16 days, and there was no cancer left in her body. And so we got to thinking, well, maybe we've hit on something. And sure enough, it was oxygen that we had hit on, and through the days and weeks that follows, we came out of this thing. We started developing this water, and we had it bottled, and we never open our bottles after it's bottled. We do our thing afterwards. But the vice president of the water company said, if this was when we were at a very low level of oxygen, and because we didn't know what the body would be able to handle, but he said, well, if this does what you think it'll do, said, I want to get on it too. Said he had a cholesterol and a high blood pressure problem for 9 years. He got on the water, and 60 days later he goes back to the doctor for his regular checkup, and everything is normal for the first time in 9 years. And so we decided that we had a hold of something here that we needed to know more about. Well, and break in any time that you need to, Donald. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Okay. How am I doing?
You're doing fine.
Okay. So we kept then raising the level of oxygen, and I was taking with my experiments. Well, I was devouring a lot of my experiments, because I wanted to know what this would do to the body. And so we were normal drinking water, average drinking water, if there is such a thing out there, would have an oxygen level of maybe around 1,400 or 1,600 on my technology, the technology that I was using. We were able then, through a series of circumstances, learn how to supersaturate the oxygen molecule, and we started raising the oxygen level in it. Well, we got up to our first run at this was 1 million, and that's when our guy at the water company come on board. Then we raised it to 2 million, and a friend of mine in Dallas was having his swimming pool reworked and putting all that good chlorine in there, and he asked me, do you think that you could design some water that would take that chlorine out? I said, I don't know. It's never been done so far as I know, but I did, and sent it down to him, and we watched this thing on a weekly basis there, and a little over 3 weeks, the water that we had added to his swimming pool had totally eliminated the chlorine in that pool. And I realized that we had hold of something that was very unusual, and of course that just precipitated much more studying and looking into it, delving into the various possibilities. And so we raised it to, yes. Did somebody have a question? Okay. We raised it from 1 to 2 to 5, and we had other people drinking it, and they were just doing real good. And then we raised it to 10 million, and then 20 million, and 30 and 35. We plateaued. I said, well, we've never heard of anything like this before, so that's probably as far as we need to go. And I kept going with my experiment. I had an experiment that run for about 2 years, and we developed two types of water in the process. One is our red-green, which we call our regular drinking water, and the red-green got its name from the fact that whenever I got it to the level that I wanted to, I had a red and a green magic marker there, and I put a mark on top of that bottle. So it was very high-tech what we were doing. But anyway, I had wanted to work on a water for burn victims, and I did, and I had a project then going on, and after 2 years, I realized, I've probably got this thing as high as I needed to go for burn victims, because we'd been testing it on minor burns, people grabbing the hot skillet and sunburn and stuff like this, and it was working just real well. And whenever I got it to where I thought it should be, then we kept that as our purple water. So right now we have 2 basic kinds. We have our purple and our red-green. The red-green, then we found we could mix a tablespoon of our red-green with a gallon of your regular drinking water, preferably non-chlorinated, and it would charge that entire container, and then just drink as much of it as you wanted, and it would put a tremendous amount of oxygen in your system. Well, we were not going to let the purple out because I thought that was kind of pretty special stuff, but about a few months back, somebody had been in the hospital and over the weekend, and they were going to take him home. They found out he drank about a half of one of those purple bottles, and the bottom line to that whole thing was he had cancer, stomach cancer that he had coughed up as the reason they took him to the hospital in the first place. But then after he drank that, they sent him back to the nursing home and told him, you got cancer all over your body, just basically, I guess they was just telling him to go home and die. But he refused to go home and die. He wouldn't have his wheelchair. He wouldn't have his walker. He's living in a nursing home. And about 3 months after that, they took him back to the doctor to see how everything was going, and no cancer in his body at all. And the last time his daughter talked to me out in out in Seattle. Well, she said that he and Mom are out driving around in the motorhome doing their thing and having a great time. Well, that was really a shock for us because we didn't realize what this water would do. But in the meantime, somebody else had heard about our water up in the Denver area, and some of these testimonies are in I've written them up, and we put them in the boxes whenever we ship our water, and a lot of you are familiar with them already. But one in particular is from Colorado, and this gal was 20 years old at the time. She was a missionary for Campus Crusade over in the Paris, France area. And while she was there, she was studying music because she's a harpist, and a very good one, I understand. But one day she stepped off the curb and a car doing 60 miles an hour hit her and just totally just done her in. She was wheelchair bound for, this is her mother's testimony, for 4 years. Couldn't move her fingers or anything. She was just totally out of it. Well, I didn't know about this, but she had heard about my water from somebody, and I shipped them some water and didn't inquire or anything like that as to what the circumstances were, but they ordered the second time a few months later, and the mother said, "Has anybody told you what we're using the water for?" I said, "No." "Well, let me tell you." Well, she told us about her daughter and said after she'd been on the water for, the doctors had already given up on her, but after she'd been on her water for about 4 months, she came out of that wheelchair, and some folks were holding a business meeting in the Seattle area, and she showed up at that business meeting without the wheelchair. The little gal that was told about her father there and the stomach cancer that I referenced a moment ago said, "I was at the meeting." As a matter of fact, they called me on a Saturday morning and said, we're at a meeting. There's 130 people of us here, and we want to put you on a speakerphone and talk to you a little bit. And they told me that the girl from Colorado showed up at the meeting in Seattle area, and no wheelchair, and said she doesn't look like she's ever had a sick day in her life. The girl whose father had the stomach cancer said, "I walked into the meeting early that morning and said some girl was doing the split over in the corner of the room, and said, I asked them, 'Do you need me to help you up?' And they said, 'Oh no, we're just doing our exercise.'" Well, it turned out to be the girl that had been wheelchair bound for 4 years. And so the man who's holding the meeting came on and said he was just really surprised because he saw her and said, "It doesn't look like she's had a wreck or anything, accident or anything." Says she get around as well as anybody could. So it really made an impact on those people. And so we've had just a myriad of reports coming in from people all over. And we didn't have this in mind when we done this water. I had one thing in mind whenever I done it, and that is to get off of my deathbed. But it has just kind of spread by word of mouth, and when people want it, well, then we work with them and try to if they want it, we just ship it to them. Then they get back to us and tell us what happened. Well, while all this development is going on, I'd like to make a couple of points here that would be of interest to you. Number one, we have basically achieved two major things in my way of thinking. One is the extreme high level of oxygen that we don't believe has ever been duplicated anywhere in the world before. But number two, we found out through working with my farm ponds there in Arkansas, and Gary, by the way, has been there, and he knows what the circumstances are up there. And I was experimenting with these farm ponds because I have a desire to clean up waterways and all, but I raised the oxygen level in my farm ponds up into a couple 100 million in oxygen, And I checked those ponds for the next 2.5 years, and that high level of oxygen stayed in that pond through those 2.5 years. It never left. And one thing that we have found out that as long as our water is wet, it'll have that same high level of oxygen in it. I was reading an article just recently. I'm sorry I can't quote the source here, but it said there that water in the natural state would lose its oxygen in about an hour, and if it was in an elevated temperature, it would be less than that. But we found out that our ponds were holding the oxygen level. But another thing that I noticed was that I had a total dissolved solid meter and a pH meter, and those are a couple of things that water labs always check for is total dissolved solids, and there are government standards that identify total dissolved solids and what drinking water you shouldn't have over a certain amount of total dissolved solids, and it's very high, somewhere around 500 if my memory serves me correctly. But on these ponds, I noticed that the total dissolved solids went down and the pH of the pond went up. Well, what this says to me that whenever you put the oxygen in the water, it displaces the poisons, and when you displace the poisons, well then the pH goes up, and we find that with animals, ponds, humans, just you name it. Had an old cat there that was very, very old, and she got terribly sick, and she would just drag in from one spot to another, and whenever she would stop, she would put her nose straight down into the ground. She wouldn't even turn her head to the side or anything, and we just knew that she was just about over with, so I said, well, I think I'm going to put her on this water. Well, we did, and it wasn't long until she was out in the woods hunting, and she lived another 2 years, and finally her motor just run down, I guess. But this works for people, animals, crops, waterways, you name it, it does. And let's see, I guess that's basically what I wanted to say, except we have let me give you a couple of personal, firsthand, day by day knowledge of what this water has done for my wife and I. We've been married 57 years. She's 81. I'm 78. She lost her left eye to glaucoma back in 22 years ago. That eye completely whited over. And Gary can verify this. Other people that I've heard on the call tonight have seen her. They can verify this. When we got the water somewhat developed, well, she and I both started using the water in our eyes as eye drops about 3.5 years ago, I guess. Well, about a year ago, she had me to look at her eye, and that white film had totally receded. And I said, well, I asked her, could she see anything? She said, I can see just a little bit of light. That's about all. And I took that as a good omen, because if you're seeing that, well, there's a good possibility we're headed for healing here. And during this time, I had been putting it in my eyes. Well, the eye doctor told me that you got cataracts forming, and said sooner or later you're going to have to deal with those. Well, later, whenever I went in to get my eyes checked and my glasses changed, and I had him to be sure to check for those cataracts, well, they were gone, and he said there was black specks forming in your eyes, and said they're even gone also. Well, so that was good news for me. But then 2 weeks ago, yesterday, Doris and I were in Arkansas on an overnight trip up there, and we were going to some folks' house pretty late at night, and the moon was out, and I think it was Jupiter that was right by the moon. It was a beautiful sight. We were commenting on it, and she had closed her good eye, and for the first time in 22 years, she could see that moon with her left eye, her bad eye. And as we were driving down this tree-shrouded lane, I asked her, well, what can you see in front of the car? And she said, well, I can see the road, I can see the trees, but everything is blurry. But since then, she has just Wednesday night, we were going to church, and she pulled the visor down on her side of the car and has a makeup mirror and a light, and for the first time, she could see her blue eyes in all of those years. And so this has been extremely rewarding to us, and so we're seeing improvements now day by day, but understand we're talking about something after 22 years, and we found that this water does have tissue healing qualities to it. And I will try to close here with this thought that I have had 3 hernia operations, 2 low and then 1 umbilical hernia, and those are old operations. 2 of them are old, and 1 of them is about 4 years old, and all of those scars have left. We've had some experience recently with third-degree burn victims that had very good success in the burn healing and no scar tissue left. And so we're quite excited about everything. And let me just stop now, and Don, you take over, and let's see what we want to do from here.
Okay. Well, would you want to take a few questions?
Well, certainly. I'll do my best to answer anything we can.
Okay. Folks, if someone has a question, you can press *7.
I do. I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Fred, I just got your water, and I just started on it. I took my first purple bottle today.
Okay.
But I also have eye problems. Which one do you use in your eye, the red, green, or the purple?
You can use either one. They're both equally adaptable to that. We have used the red-green for quite some time, but I bounce back and forth between the two because my oxygen level is so high. But both of them have tissue healing qualities, and I might even mention that purple bottle. Well, you can do this with both of them. If you have a pain, say in the lower back or something like that, you can hold those bottles up to that pain unopened, and most of the time that pain will go away.
Yeah, well, I've been sleeping with one of the bottles. I drank the other one today. So I'm looking for the best.
Well, you're right. You're right on. So just continue.
I just wished I would have met you 10 years ago because I lost my wife to cancer, and I just have a feeling that this would have taken care of her.
Well, I'm sorry, and goodness, I wish we had known about this 10 years ago, I mean.
Yeah, me too.
It's unfortunate.
And thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Do you have any experience to do with anybody that has Agent Orange from the military, Vietnam, as well as diabetes? It's usually brought on about 20 years early, I understand.
Yes, sir. We've had experience with all of those, and they've all responded beautifully. We suggest the Agent Orange that you put the purple bottle in your tub and run your tub full of water with this purple bottle unopened, and let it float like a cork in there. And after about 10 minutes, it'll charge that entire tub. But we've also found out that Agent Orange does not like apple cider vinegar, so you can also add that to your bath water, and just soak in it as long as you're comfortable. 30, 40 minutes, hour, whatever. Because the longer you soak in there, you understand that your skin is the largest organ in your body, and you've got lots of pores, and the pores will get rid of a lot of poisons, as we know from spas to go. We have a lady on here, I believe, tonight that has one of those, and she's found out that that's a good way of getting rid of poisons too. But my point is, drink the red and green on the outside, soak in the the purple on the, drink the red and green on the inside, soak in the purple on the outside, and you've got a real good combination going, and you should be able to clean yourself of all of that poisons over a period of time.
Fred,
how much of the apple cider you would add to the bath, or do you drink that?
I'm sorry?
The apple cider vinegar that you spoke of?
No, you just put a cupful of that in your bath water.
In the bath? Anything on diabetes?
Yes, we've got people here that Ann from Oklahoma can address that. She can give us some first-hand information on that if you would like. I would love for her to come on and address that for you too. Understand now. Here's where we're coming from. Oxygen is the healing fluid for all situations. That's my confession, and it seems like it's working out all right. So that includes just about everything you can think of.
Yes. Okay.
Fred.
Yes.
I'm Ann, as you know.
Okay.
Love you. Now that's a loving nickname I've given this man, because the things that God has given him have allowed me to rise up out of my chair and in a full day's work. And yes, I'm diabetic. I've been on this water 6 months. I believe in that purple bottle. I put that thing in the spa, and my husband, watching me rise up and be able to do what I've been doing, hasn't even flinched. He's jumped in the middle of that spa as well, and thank God, because he had a challenge a week or so back that we found out through testing, mainstream medical, that if we hadn't had that in him, we might have lost him. He got some toxic poison in a rain cloud, and we didn't know until we started connecting the dots where that had come from. But he had 105 temperature, broke out with cellulitis, and we nailed it with our purple water and our red and green. And we did it in 24 hours. 8 years ago, he was in the hospital 8 days with the same thing. So I have proof of this through my doctor. But what I was going to say about the diabetes is that the feeling has come back in my feet. The color has come back. I've been able to reduce my insulin to about half of what I was taking. I've also lost 15 pounds, which doesn't occur easily for me. I have energy beyond recognition, and also I've had a damaged eye, macular degeneration, and the doctors that examined me, and I had just only the lower left peripheral vision, had no focal vision at all, and I've been putting drops in both eyes, and I can now close my good eye and see TV, see around the room, get around the room. I have just a thin veil that is a very small spot left in the focal part of my eye up in the upper right corner. But all over, body has changed. Drinking this water and putting it in my spa. I'm too big for my bathtub. I took it out and threw it in the spa, and I said, I hope this works, Lord. But the beautiful oxygen bubbles that come up when that spa comes on are like clear crystal. When Fred tested me for my oxygen level, it was pretty high, and my levels of poison were very low. Well, I cannot say enough about it.
Right. I just lost, in addition to the Agent Orange, I just lost my left eye here 90 days ago, as far as sight goes, and it detached retina, and surgery and stuff, but I'm starting to see things that are very, hazy or distorted, but it is coming back a little bit. from the surgery. So this is very interesting, and I want to thank you for answering my questions.
Yes, I think you'll also find out that any scar tissue that may be in there will be dissipated over a period of time. That's my gut feeling. And I had early on, we had and this is in the testimonies, and I don't remember the name of the lady at the time, but she's in Florida. She had failed her driving test because of a detached retina, and heard about our water and got on it. And 2 months later, she was able to go back and pass her test because it had reattached, and that attests to the fact that the tissue healing of the water actually does work.
Right. That's what happened to me, the detached retina, but it completely collapsed inside on the walls.
Right.
And they put a band around the eye. I don't know what they mean by that, but I've got to go back in 2 weeks for another surgery. But I'm sure everybody else got a lot of questions themselves, but that gets me started, and I want to thank you, and God bless you, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, do you have a website, or how do you get the water?
Well, I don't have a website because I've wanted to keep a very low profile, and I have web email address toh@leadhill.net. That's like T Tom O Oscar H Henry TOH@leadhill, like the metal, LEADHILL.net. And if you want to contact me, well then feel free to do so.
Do you have information on your technology or anything like that? Or?
I have some email worthy documents that I put in the boxes whenever I ship, and if you want that information, I have it where I can email it as an attachment to you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
My question was, what can I expect, or what should I do if I have Parkinson's disease?
Well, we're working on some of those right now. I can't give you a first-handed information on a cure, but I do know that the response is looking real good right now. You have to understand we're learning as we go along here too. We've definitely not arrived, but whenever you consider the fact that oxygen is a healing fluid for all situations, what we like to see is get the body flooded with oxygen, get rid of the poisons and things in the body, get the pH up over the 7 mark, preferably the 7.4 to 8 range, and allow the immune system to get kicked back in. And once you do that, the Lord has designed this body in such a way that it'll heal itself if you give it what it needs. So we believe that oxygen is a great first step, and of course we don't diminish natural foods and clinical nutritionists and people that study that sort of thing, because that's not my cup of tea. Mine is engineering, but I have people that advise me, and I get my minerals and stuff like that from them. So you understand too that there's basically 2 things basically, and this is a broad brush thing that causes sickness. And one is poisons, the other is nutrition. So if you can get the balance in those, it seems like you've got a pretty good chance of recovering from almost anything. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Fred, this is Donald. I have a question.
Okay.
If a person gets this, you tell them to put a certain amount in a gallon of water, right?
Yes.
Okay.
A tablespoon per gallon of water is what we recommend. If you don't have a major health problem that you're trying to overcome, and you're looking just for prevention rather than cure, within our regular box that we send out has 6 of the red green, which is our drinking version, and 1 of the purple in it, and that suffices pretty good for the person that's just looking to maintain good health. That's a lot of good energy. But now, if you have a major health problem, well, we recommend, and people have done this and told me what the results were really good. Where whenever we ship somebody some water, we'll maybe substitute 1 of the red green with another purple, and then they drink 1 of the purple the first day they get it, and then get on the red green as a follow-up, and that seems to give the body an excellent jump start on the oxygen and opening the door for some great healings there. That's kind of the vision that we're picking up in that area.
Okay, so if a person is always getting like an 8-ounce, somebody needs to press star 6, or if you're not going to ask a question, could you press star 6, please? We're getting some reverbs from someplace. A lot of people get these little plastic bottles, I don't know, 6, 8-ounce bottles and so forth, and some people, that's all they drink anymore. Can they take and put a certain amount of drops in their water as they drink it?
Yes, sir. That's an excellent question, because we've got a mobile society pretty much, and I have an acquaintance that goes all over the U.S. Holding business meetings and things, and they're into a new hotel or motel 2 or 3 times a week, and they came to me with that same question, and I'd done some comparison and some experiment and testing and all, and I found that you can a 16-ounce bottle. If you go into a hotel and you buy a 16-ounce bottle, which is a common size for water nowadays, buy that and then put 3 drops of our red green in that 16-ounce bottle. That will take it up to the equivalency of that tablespoon per gallon. And and then I was able to monitor these 2 guys over a period of several months, and I noticed that their oxygen level came up steadily, but one of them had leukemia and was healed of it, and by his own testimony. So if you're doing traveling, or if you do go on the airplane quite a bit, they don't want you to take a bottle of water, but you can have a small cosmetic size bottle that'll hold an ounce or 2, and that'll last you quite a while if you're just putting 3 drops in a bottle. So there are ways of getting around that, but we did run that out, and 3 drops in a 16-ounce is equivalent dosage for a tablespoon in a gallon. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Okay. Somebody else probably has a question again.
Hello, this is Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Fred, does it matter what kind of water that you mix it with? My studies have shown that distilled water is pretty much as dead as water can get. Does it work okay with distilled water? Does it work better with other waters? Or?
Well, the better water that you can get to start with, I believe, the better off obviously you are. Stay away from city tap waters if you can, but if you go to distilled water, know that in the distillation process you're getting a wet substance, but then you're eliminating all of your minerals and stuff like this. So if you're going to go with distilled water, well, be sure to get on a good regimen, is my thinking, of minerals and vitamin substitutes, or minerals and vitamins, and then that'll substitute for what you would normally get out of a good drinking water. So you kind of gotta work the two together. But yeah, it will work. It will charge that distilled water right up to the hilt, So if you put it in there, but just be mindful that you don't have your minerals. So be mindful that you need to do something about that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Fred, to kind of go along with that, this is Donald again. Would this have its benefits regardless of the beverage you put it in, even if that beverage maybe wasn't something you should be drinking?
Well, yes, you can make your tea and coffee out of it. Boiling it does not eliminate the oxygen at all because, like I say, as long as it's wet, it's going to have its high oxygen level in there. So you can do that, and I don't. I've never put it in. I don't use that rot gut that they make down in Tennessee. I couldn't make a judgment on that, but stuff that you and I would normally drink, iced tea, coffee, things like that, orange juice, Gatorade, whatever. You put that in there, you'll energize it also.
Mm-hmm. Purified water, okay.
Purified water is good. You just be mindful of the mineral that you need to be. Don't short your body. You know what I mean?
Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is Jackie from Tennessee.
Okay.
Fred, were you talking about moonshine? Oh.
Somebody knows what I'm talking about down there, don't they?
I wanted to ask the question, and then I wanted to give a testimony.
Okay.
The question is any such thing, according to your product, is too much?
Would you ask that question again? I missed it.
Is there any such thing as drinking too much of the water, like, say, purple or the red, green, somebody may drink it, if you was to drink it like bottled water, like a 16-ounce bottle, is there any such thing, any effect on the body if it's too much oxygen?
Yeah, the one thing that you want to watch for if you do, it's not going to hurt you. It'll make you hurt yourself. If you drink this water straight and early on before your system is built up to it, and you chug-a-lug a 16-ounce bottle of it, you'll get as drunk as a coot there for a while. I saw one guy that done this, and I told him he shouldn't do it, but he's a friend of mine, and he got so drunk that he had to sit down for about 40 minutes before he could manipulate again. So when we recommend that somebody drink one of these bottles the first day, one of the purple bottles, well, we suggest that they sit down and in a good easy chair somewhere and just sip about a third of it over a period of 15 to 30 minutes and let it trickle down the tongue and the throat, because as it does that, you're going to get a homeopathic effect for the entire body because it ministers to every cell and molecule in the body. And then after about 15 or 30 minutes, well, then get up, and if your feet are still under you, then for the next hour or two or whenever, well, just get some in your mouth, and as you're going about your daily tasks, just swallow it real slow and devour that first bottle the first day, and then get on the regular red and green and continue on. But that's the main thing that I would caution anybody about. Don't be driving a car and then decide you're going to drink this stuff straight. It's not going to hurt you, but we don't want you to hurt yourself.
Okay, I was just asking. It's not something I would probably do anyway, But, another thing that I had noticed what I had noticed within about a week. I had worked 13 years doing security, and it was a big fenced-in yard, and as part of my job, I did have to sit out, rain, sleet, or snow, or whatever, at night in one of the company trucks, which were, the big 2-ton pickup trucks or a big van. And those trucks would have, tons of, of course, it would be cold at night. I had to turn it on to get warm, and the fumes that would come out of there is worse than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day as far as, carbon monoxide. So I noticed over the years my breath the breathing was like maybe at half what it should be. Not shortness of breath, but the breath was, just short.
Right.
And so I was extremely concerned about it. Didn't know what I could do to even correct it because, God said you had enough, and of course I got laid off a few weeks ago. But I was concerned because especially of the possibility of some long-term, eventually some health problems, So when I started drinking the water, I wasn't even thinking about it at all. But after about a week, I noticed that I was breathing like I was inhaling just a big breath of fresh air. My, breathing is deeper now, and I got, a lot more oxygen in my lungs. So I'm just, really thrilled about that, and that's the immediate effect that I noticed. Of course, the more oxygen you have in your body, it detoxifies, and there's a lot of things that it does within your body, as far as, free radicals and preventing a lot of things. So I'm just excited about that. Just thought I'd let you know.
Yes, thank you. Well, as you do this is gonna bring healing to your lungs because you got tissue healing qualities in this water. And another thing that you'll notice some very interesting things that when you start drinking this water, well, you tend to go to the bathroom. You don't want to be too far from the bathroom early on because it will run through you like Grant through Richmond, they say, so you've got to watch that. And there's a lady, I think maybe she may be on here. She was afraid to drink it and get too far from the bathroom, but you will get flushed out pretty soon. Now also, a lot of people will notice too that if they snore, for instance. In my own way of thinking, the reason people snore is that the breathing tubes are surrounded by tissue, and poisons in tissue causes swelling of the tissue, and swelling of tissue around a tube like that will reduce the size of the tube. And when you do, well, my way of thinking is that your body is laboring for the air and oxygen that it needs. But whenever you get rid of those poisons and the tube relaxes, then the snoring often quits. So that's saying something to your body also.
Well, thank you so kindly for it, and I'm going to get my sister on that product because she snores.
Okay.
Well, thank you, hon. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I have a question. Has anybody ever used it in a nebulizer and breathe it right into their lungs?
Yes. We've had an encounter with a nebulizer, and the second day on the water, they chunked that nebulizer.
What? It would be good for somebody with pneumonia, asthma, COPD, or emphysema. They could actually use it.
Yes.
And breathe it right into their lungs.
Well, yeah, you can. Just by drinking it, it's gonna minister to every cell in your body because it's designed to go into every cell and molecule in your body. And
how do you use it with burn patients? What's the protocol for that?
Well, the most recent that we had was a July 4th, third degree in the Dallas area, and the doctors had given this guy antibiotics, and I mean he was burned real bad from his ankle to his knee, and the doctors had given him antibiotics and other things, and 2 weeks later it had not healed, but he came down in our part of the country and was staying.
Conference about the water product.
Somebody's
you just like spray it.
If you're not asking a question.
But you just use the purple and spray it right on the burn, or is that?
Yeah. What happened is this guy came down and was visiting some friends that have been on the water for quite some time, and they also have a testimony in our testimony sheets that we send out. But what they done is took the purple water and put it in a misting bottle like you girls mist your clothes before you iron them. and would spray that area, but twice a day they would wrap it with gauze and then spray the gauze, and then after it dried out, then they would take it off for a while, and then they would wrap it again and do it. And after about 3 days, that scar had reduced its size to half the size, and within a week, the scab had already been gone, and there was no scar tissue left at all, and the hair was growing back where it had been burned. So that is our latest information on burn victims, and it really did a fine job for him.
In a minute, I want everybody to continue with their questions, but in the meantime, if everybody would like to get a pencil and paper, and in a couple of minutes, I'll share how you can share this call with anyone who might not have been able to be here tonight.
Oh, we're going to do it again. Good.
I'd like to ask a question, please.
Okay.
Have you had anyone that was on dialysis drinking the water?
I don't believe we've had anybody that reported that they were on dialysis at the time. No, ma'am. I don't have experience in that particular area that I could share specifically with you. But I think it obviously it would help that situation, but I don't have firsthand reports from anybody that is doing that yet.
I have a question.
Okay.
Well, two questions really. I do have a friend that has sarcoidosis, and what about the water for sarcoidosis?
Something dosis. I didn't catch that. Now
sarcoidosis deals with the breathing, with the lungs.
Okay.
In fact, there's no cure for sarcoidosis.
Well, now you're talking to an engineer, not a medical technician, obviously, and so I'm having to wing it, but I do know that we had a recent situation here in the Longview, Texas area where this guy had his oxygen level was down into less than 50. He checked into the hospital, and he had no lung capacity and had a bunch of breathing problems, I guess, and he got on the water, and just in a couple of days his oxygen level had jumped on up to about 96 or 97, but they were amazed at the expansion of his lungs over that period of time. It was kind of remarkable. I don't remember the dimensions, and it didn't mean that much to me not working in that protocol, but I don't believe that there's anything that oxygen will not heal, and especially in the breathing apparatus and all too.
Okay, but then I guess I don't know if you know anything about mitral valve prolapse that causes the palpitation.
Well, palpitation of the heart.
Yes.
One thing, if you would email me and ask me about that, I can tell you of something that we can do. Let me, if you don't mind, let me call in Ann again. Ann is a retired medical, and I would like for her to address a little bit of that palpitation or irregular heartbeat. If it's the same thing, I'm assuming.
It's almost the same thing. It's a mitral valve, but the valve doesn't really close properly, and it causes the heart to beat faster.
Okay. Ann, do you have any testimony that you could share with her on that?
Fred, what I've noticed since I've been using it, and people that I know are using it as well, is that their heartbeat comes back into a more regular rhythm. I have a feeling that it has to do with the balancing of the oxygen in the cells. Cells, when they're challenged, and this is cells all over our body, doesn't matter where they're located. But when we're ill, those cells tend to build a wall around the exterior of the cell, which keeps the nucleus of the cell from getting the oxygen level that it needs, or even getting medication that it needs. What you may find is what we have discovered with a couple of people we've been working with, is that when you introduce oxygen at this level into the cells, both by drinking it and bathing in it, that as your cells reproduce, the old cells that are dying go away, the new cells that are forming chance. And when those cells are penetrated with that oxygen, not only do they function and reproduce better cells, but they also allow medication that your doctor may have you on to actually do that. So
penetrate the wall of the cell.
I didn't hear you, dear.
I guess you were saying, like, when that happened, then if you take a medication, then those cells are more susceptible.
Yeah, they will.
It's like pores been open. Your pores been open. So that nuclear membrane around that cell is more open to get to the nucleus of the cell.
Right. And that cell that has been walled off, that won't allow even the medication into it, much less a good oxygen level, finally sloughs off and dies. And that's about kind of a simple way of explaining it. But the oxygen now that's introduced into the cells is becoming more and more and more. It's like Fred said, it takes time. Tissue heals at its own pace. I could have the same thing and heal at a different pace because of the way our body functions. But what you're going to find is that this will help cells to become healthy.
What about women that are going through menopause?
Oh, that's kind of the same principle in a sense, because we change. Our estrogen levels change. Our hormones in general are changing. And again, I believe from the simplicity of just plain old biology that if you feed a cell what it really needs, which is oxygen and water, and it's in a healthy state when it's introduced into that cell, that cell's going to reproduce healthy cells. I just can't fathom that tissue won't get better with a higher level of oxygen and water.
I have a question. Does this water hydrate you better to change the surface tension and all that? The pH of the water. Sorry, you already said it raised the pH, but I just wonder if a lot of people are just chronically dehydrated, so.
Yes. What you're going to find is that your body flushes the toxins out. Once your pores are open, and this water, when you bathe, I have found each of our cells, each of our bodies, slough off dead cells all the time. And often dead cells will kind of block your pores. But this water just seems to kind of let you slough that dead cells off, and then the pores open and it actually can absorb the oxygen that's in the water when you bathe. So you're going to have just an overall better balance in the way your body functions. At least that's what I've observed. I'm sort of a walking poster child for Fred's water. Several things have happened to me. Scars are healing. My eye is healing. My diabetes is better. My arthritis is gone. I don't have any pain anymore.
In the medical field,
it's a miracle.
To raise your oxygen level, they put you in a hyperbaric chamber, so this is almost like having a hyperbaric chamber in a bottle.
Yeah, in a sense, yes.
And I I can address that. I've had one encounter with the hyperbaric chamber where this particular individual was they had him slated for a 10 regimen situation with hyperbaric chamber, and we got him on our program, and the second day they told him, we don't know why, but this hyperbaric chamber will not work on you. But what had happened, that we put more oxygen in him in one day than the hyperbaric chamber could do in a lifetime.
Wow.
And so
it's safer than a hyperbaric chamber by a long ways.
Yes, and if anybody...
There are risks with a hyperbaric chamber.
Anybody's claustrophobic, I don't want the hyperbaric chamber. I'm delighted Fred has developed this.
Well, another thing, this has brought up something else while you were talking about the cell structure and all. One thing that we have noticed, I mentioned it earlier, that when a lot of people get on this, then they have to go to the bathroom a lot, but we've had some that got on it that did have to go to the bathroom several times a night, that would sleep all night long. And I have done some work in internal combustion engines, supporting doing a catalyst for these huge engines that run megawatt generators down in a landfill down in Georgia near Atlanta. But we've done some very interesting work in that aspect. But in the process of doing that, we found out that that there is, and there's different names for it, but we found that there's an interstitial membrane between the cells that seems to be where the energy is stored, and it seems as though oxygen is the fluid that keeps those membranes flexible. If the membranes get flexible and don't flex, well, then it appears to me, based on what little I don't know, I guess, there's more that I don't know than what I do know, but it appears to me that if somebody's having to go to the bathroom real often before they get on this water, that to me says that interstitial membrane has become fibrous and does not flex like it's supposed to. Whereas once the oxygen gets in there and works on that, it seems as though it makes that flex more, and hence the lungs and the bladder and the other parts seems like they work and a lot better and have a longer period between having to go, So we've learned some stuff through working with internal combustion engines that seems to parallel pretty much what we're looking at in the body. At least it helps us to kind of understand in our own thinking what maybe is going on.
Well, I can maybe address that a little bit, because in the body you have two types of respiration at the cellular level. You got anaerobic, which means with oxygen, and that's a much cleaner, form of energy production. And if you're lacking in oxygen, then your body switches to anaerobic, which means without oxygen, which produces a lot of lactic acid, and it's much, not as much energy is produced, and you get the lactic acid. That's why if you exercise real strenuously, you'll go from aerobic to anaerobic respiration, and your lactic acid builds up, and that's what gives you your muscle pain, and that's why you eventually, have to stop. You don't, you slow down. You eventually get such a buildup of lactic acid and stuff that.
Right.
Is this call open?
Okay, Paul, go ahead.
I just want to put my 2 cents in too. I've been, as you know, Donald, you know me very well, and the health challenges I've been with my whole life.
Yeah.
I've been a health researcher for over 35 years, well, most of my life. I'm 53, and the medical profession didn't have any answers for me. So I started studying on my own, and I appreciate everybody that studies and learns their chosen field. I've studied, all hours of the night, learning about health and how to achieve perfect health. And because of prayer and the grace of God, He sent me tremendous answers. And I'm alive today because of that. I would have been gone a long time ago if I didn't learn how to learn about health and what healing and true health is. I've learned through the years. I've watched people that are biochemists that go to the laboratory because they have to know how everything works, and they have to look under a laboratory before they believe a single word that you say. And I can appreciate their research and their hard work. I'm that kind of person too. I'm very analytical. I want to know how things work. But these same people that want to not understand how a vitamin, want to understand how a vitamin works before they even talk to you about them or give them any credibility, will be the same people that when lunchtime comes around, they'll head for the local McDonald's but not even question that whatsoever. So it makes no sense whatsoever. I've learned through the years that there are those kinds of people that
people like that. That's right.
Someone talking in the background. Could you please press *6?
There are people out there that choose to spend a whole lot of time studying the roots, and I can appreciate that. And then there are others that would, instead of studying the roots, we would just rather pick the fruit and enjoy the benefits. So that's kind of the way I look at things now. So nature is an awesome thing. It comes from our Creator. So
this is Yamna. May I speak, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer July 5th, 2007. I was hospitalized for 22 days. And at the first admission on July 5th, I was told I would never walk out of the hospital alive. Well, I was there for 22 days. I started chemo. I came out on the 27th, and I started a special species of aloe, went into remission until January of this year. And because of some severe stress and discontinuing of the aloe, I came out of remission. I was in August in the hospital for 10 weeks. My right lung was secreting water very rapidly. I was sent home to hospice twice. I readmitted myself each time. When I came out of the hospital, I was on oxygen, 3.5 units of oxygen. I began to wean myself off of the oxygen. On September 1st, I had a session of chemo. Someone had told me about the oxygen water, and my body began to energetically respond to what my friend Rochelle was telling me. And I said, how can I get some of this water? So on September 1st, I received my water, and I called her to tell her. She says, you sound terrible. I said, well, I had chemo today. She says, well, take 2 tablespoons of the purple bottle from the purple bottle and 2 tablespoons from the red and green water.
There you go.
So, and it was though an elephant had been lifted from my shoulders. And normally I'm not able to sleep a couple of nights after chemo. I slept like a baby. The following day, September 2nd, I went to get a crown put on my tooth, and I had surgery on that gum. And I carry the water with me everywhere I go. When I got back to the car, I put some water in my mouth, and in less than 10 minutes, the pain was gone, and I haven't had any pain since then. Excuse me? I have not been able to walk around the block. I started walking a half a block, and I walked to the end of the block. As of this past Monday, I walked around the block, and I haven't done that in 2.5 years. I have more energy, more stamina. I sleep good at night, even though my urinating transit time has increased. And as I've said to Fred, that even though I get up and go to the bathroom and come back, and I just naturally fall back to sleep. That is amazing to me. I have started putting the drops in both my eyes for floaters. The floaters, 90% of the floaters that were floating around have gone. I had a vein in the back of my right leg that looked like a worm. That is gone. And this is all transpired in less than 30 days. Now, I understand that people have qualifications. All those doctors that wanted to send me to hospitals, they were experienced. The surgeon that told me that I would not walk out of the hospital, he was specialized. And this call is to present Fred's experience with the water and others who have also been fortunate enough to be a participant in the healing that comes from this water. So I think that even though one may have a difference of opinion, you cannot ignore what the people have put forth tonight. And I, forgot the woman's name, I feel like I'm a poster child. This has changed my personality, it's changed my stamina, and it's changed my life and my health. So, Fred, I give you the kudos, the person who put this conference call together to allow people to understand that there's something else out there than allopathic. And I certainly would never put down allopathic medicine because we need everything. God is in everything. But those who are awakening now are finding that our bodies have the capacity to heal itself if it's given the right tool.
And Yamna, I thank you for sharing with me. It's starting to affect my body positively. God bless you.
Thank you.
Can we have the email for Fred Water?
Beautiful testimonial.
Excellent. Can we have the email for Fred Water?
Well, maybe Fred stepped away for a moment. I could give it for him.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Fred.
My email, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, TOH, like T Tom, O Oscar, H Henry, TOH at Leadhill, LEADHILL.net.
Okay.
TOH at leadhill.net.
Hey, Fred.
Yes.
This is Queen. I want to give my testimony.
Well, hello.
Hi, Queenie.
Yes.
Hi, Queenie.
Hello. I've had backaches for 5 years. I had to quit my job. At one time I was in a wheelchair. And I got back about a week ago. I couldn't even walk. My husband tell you the same. I was in all kinds of pain. I went to the chiropractor. I went to all types of things. I got Fred Water. I am up walking. I feel good. My back is not hurting. And so I give Yahweh all the praise. But once you put something into your body, you put oxygen in your body. Oxygen is that's what they give you when you have asthma. I had asthma, and they put me on oxygen. But once you put that in your body, it helps, and I know it's been helping me. And I feel great. I thank Willie Collins for sending the email to me because I didn't know anything about it. I thank Juanita for telling me about it because Juanita know I was in a lot of pain. Matter of fact, she one told me about it after Willie had sent the email. So I know what it's done for me. I don't care what nobody say or whatever. I know it's done for me because I could even walk. I am walking now.
That is great.
I'm not doubting the effectiveness of what you're saying. I'm not even doubting. What I'm saying is I only want to correct the mitral valve response. Really.
Yeah, I was the one who's talking about the mitral valve.
I don't doubt it. Okay, so I just wanted to correct it because they came across wrong. It was just a medical opinion and a response. But as far as the fruitfulness of this water, it sounds great. And when he talked about oxygen chamber, it wasn't correct because there's a certain procedure about the oxygen for the body. All I'm talking about is the oxygen ratio. But as far as the qualities of this water, it sounds great. I'm not debating. I think it's great.
May I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Have you seen any effects on acne? And have you seen any effects on people who have like chronic yeast or candida?
Good question.
Yes, we have noticed. I've not had a specific one on acne or candida, but I have noticed over the period of time that the skin tone improved dramatically. I do not have a first-hand testimony anywhere that I know about on acne or candida.
Okay, can you be a little more specific when you said the skin tone improved? Are you talking like wrinkles removed or?
Yes. As the skin gets smoother and all, it does tend to remove wrinkles, and I think Umna has a testimony in that particular area. But I have noticed that on my wife. Like I say, she's 81, and she's the closest one to me, and so I have noticed that skin tone on her particularly.
Okay.
I want to just say that the woman that clarified those comments a moment ago, I appreciate that you said that. And Fred, I would like to ask a question about if you've observed the effects of this water on hyperactive children and maybe also on people with attention deficit disorder.
We've had one real great response down in Louisiana on ADT, attention ADD. I'll get it right here. Yes, it did in that particular instance, and I'm not sure if the lady is on. Maybe her mother-in-law is on, and she may have some comment about that. But she was a school teacher, and she does work with those children, and there is some reports that it has been helping. I don't know if Eloise may be on, and she might want to make a comment on that or not. Maybe she's not on.
I say something if she's not coming on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Someone talked about candida,
yes.
And I've been battling external candida for about 5 years, and I really hadn't thought a lot about it. I got some nystatin and with cortisone, but I tried nystatin, and actually just a matter, I didn't realize it, but it must have been the water because it's gone.
Okay, and thank you.
When she asked about that, and that it had to be that because I've been battling for 5 years with all the things that I know to use. It hasn't worked. And could I ask a question?
Yes,
Have
please.
you any experience with? My husband has compromised veins that won't close, and one of his legs is really bad. The vein is, and then he also has essential tremors, and and also ears. And I wondered if you had any experience with any of those three things.
The one thing that we have noticed concerning the veins is that this water tends to clean the piping, and we've had people that's had stents and things like that put in, and in prior years, and I had one instance down in Louisiana where they thought that this gentleman needed another stent, and they went in to check it, and they found that his veins were good and clean, and they didn't have to do it. But since they made the incision to invade his body, they had to keep him overnight and released him to go home the next day. So we've had some experience in cleaning of the veins, but there's a lot of things that's going on that we don't have feedback on, I'm sure. But that's why I appreciate people coming on and mentioning what they're doing. If somebody has got something, well, this is a good forum to share it, And I wish we had more experience, but we're also still in the learning process.
I'm sure more and more are going to come up as time goes on, because this is we just think it's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Is there a number for the recorded call? If someone wants to go back and listen?
Let's see, Donald, are you you'll give that information? Donald, are you on?
Yeah.
Somebody was asking about a recording call. Could they go back and listen to it?
I think we lost Donald.
Beg your pardon?
I think we lost Donald, Ted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took another call. I got a call from a woman who was telling me what an excellent call it was, and I said, well, I got to get back to it in a minute. And she says, oh, it's still going on? And I said, yes, it is, and she's going to rejoin us here in just a moment. And one thing, Fred, I wonder if you could maybe discuss a little bit acid reflux, if you've observed anything with that.
Yes, we've had a couple of those. One in particular was an Arizona situation where they had that, and they took a cap full of the red green straight, let it go down slow, and they said it solved it right away. And did I tell you to look at? No, that's good. Unless you can mix them out. Did somebody else have
some folks have got their line open and having some background conversation. We'd appreciate if you're not going to ask a question or make a comment, if you could press *6.
Yeah, we wanted to record the call number.
Okay, I can give that. It's almost the same as the call that you called in on, but here it is. If you got your pencils, it is 712-432-6099. I'll give that again. It's 712-432-6099, and the access code is the same as what you came in on the call, 129555 pound. Again, 129555 pound. And that'll be available after the call.
Come here, my love.
Somebody's must have be talking to their little dog or something.
This call's going to be every week?
I don't know that we've, I don't think anything's scheduled right now, but Fred, if you say yes or no to this, does your email handle people who would like to get a notification when we're going to have another call, or would you like me to give an email for that?
Well, if you want another call, if you think this is a benefit, well, I'm willing to share what I know, and I can only speak from my own experience here. So if it's beneficial and you want to have another one, well, then I would be amenable to that. Yes.
I'm sure that people would be. There were about 65 people on the call, and I think only about a dozen of them have gone to bed. So. I think people are really listening in. So
yeah, what are they hanging around for? You think?
Yeah, some very very fascinating information.
Yeah.
Well,
I say something here. I've been wanting to say something most of the night. Can I just say something?
Sure.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Young for. My name is Cindy, and I'm from Arizona. And I have known Fred for approximately 12 years. And a few years back, I ran into a problem where I was living. The landscapers oversprayed pesticide residue, and I went to 8 different medical physicians. And my background has been alternative medicine for 21 years. I've studied various different types of healing. And I just want to let you know that everybody that's on this call, if anything, what they all need to do is just drink the water. Just try it. Give yourself at least 6 months to be on it and see the changes, because you will see miracles beyond miracles. I've seen
Dogs that have almost been dead within 24 hours come back to life. There is a special energy, a healing energy that, there's oxygen and there's the carrying unit of oxygen that carries through the cells, but you know what? The biggest thing is to drink the water. I can tell you from eye problems I've had to headaches, probably 12 times that water saved me from going into the emergency. An old boyfriend used to have acid reflux so bad he would throw up and you'd think the man was dying. And I told him, go drink a capful, and I believe that was the green red. And within 5 minutes, that man was brand new. There's just a special energy. I used to be a nutraceutical sales rep to a lot of different companies throughout Canada and the United States. It's just like Western medicine tells us, this is what you got an ailment, you take this pill. They don't study the energetics of the body. They don't study the auric field of the body, how it manifests. Disease will manifest in through the physical. They don't talk about this stuff. And time again, even when you're desperate and you're on death's door, just drink the water and you'll see the energy. You'll let your body have the capability to heal itself like it's designed, that God designed it for all of us. Sleep with that bottle in your sock. Do whatever you have to do. Take it with you everywhere. I do not leave it anywhere. I take it in the car. I sleep with it on my head. Whatever's going on. If I got menstrual cramps, I put it on my lower abdomen. It's just, the energy of it is beyond. And everybody needs to just drink it and try it. And let it do its thing. Let it do what your body is designed to do. Heal itself.
You're absolutely.
Okay? This is Jackie.
Amen.
Yes.
And it's amazing that you all have this opportunity. Classify this as a huge blessing that you have this man on the phone and that you're able to speak with him. Classified as a blessing right now. You're all here put for a reason on this call. And everybody else that you know that's either really sick, and you know what? Sometimes the medical professionals can help you. I was dying and 8 doctors, alternative doctors and non-alternative, could help me. But I got on the water and I turned myself around.
Yes.
Okay? So let it work in your body. It has the capability because the body is designed to heal itself. So it's the water, drink it and let it do its thing. And just be happy that whoever sent you on this call, whoever told you about the water, kiss them and thank them, because everybody that's on this call right now, you're blessed to be on this call. Okay? So
I'd like to ask a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I have been diagnosed with an overactive thyroid. It was an extreme case. And I just want to confirm what I think I'm hearing, and that is, for instance, I don't need to take anything that is going to energize me any more than I am, that's going to, activate and, raise, all the energy levels. And what I'm hearing, and somebody please comment or confirm, is that in drinking the water, it will address whatever is going on. For instance, it seems like if someone needs the oxygen to nourish and calm, or nourish and help to heal, it will do that. For other people who need more energy, it will do that. It's kind of like an oxygen that will really address what's going on in the body. Can somebody comment on that?
Well, I think the body is what heals. God is the ultimate healer, but we can assist the process. I think that's what you would say, isn't it, Fred? I mean, the water itself doesn't, you can't say that it cures or anything, but we assist the body, right?
Yes. The one thing that I've come to realize since I've been doing this is that everybody's physiology is different than the next, and you don't always know what it's going to help first, and so it's kind of like opening presents on Christmas morning. What do we got here? You drink the water, and the next thing you know, well, I'm not hurting where I used to be hurting, and you realize those sorts of things, and the one thing that I've noticed, people will. It's kind of like the Bible says, when the baby is born, the mother soon forgets the pain. I'm kind of paraphrasing that, but you know what I'm talking about. People seem like they can get on the water and get healed, and maybe they'll realize 2 weeks later, well, I'm healed of that area. I used to hurt in this area or something like that, and now it's gone, and it's just glorious. But everybody is just different from the next person, so that's the beauty about taking the water and it ministering to the entire body. It seems to know what the body needs and goes to that. So that's my comment on it.
Great. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Don.
Hello?
Don, it's Dave down in Texas.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me back up the lady that talked just before about how beneficial this conference call is, because I've learned a lot tonight, and I've known Fred for quite a long time. Gary up in Pennsylvania introduced us, I guess, because I'm the head of a ministry down in Belize that we're going to build a natural healing center. And after I found out about this water, I've been preaching for 20 years that the body healed itself. God created the body to heal itself. We just feed it right. And boy, Fred's water does the trick. I've used it for everything from burns to pains to soaking in the tub, like he says, a lot of other things. I love him for it. I love what God has given him. So please do have these conference calls again, and because I think everybody learned a whole lot. Hi, Fred.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't realize you were on. But
yeah, give me a clap.
Thank you.
Call you tomorrow.
Okay.
May I comment?
Please.
I've only known Fred and Doris for about 6 months, but they have been an absolute blessing to my husband and I. We have formed a very fast and wonderful agape friendship. And what he is doing and what God has given him, Fred is an open vessel that God is using to help people have a better life. And I can't say enough about what I have seen in these 6 months. And as I said, I've spent most of my life in the medical field, so I've seen a lot of thises and that's and a lot of things come down the pipe. But this is like the grain of a mustard seed, the faith of the grain of the mustard seed. If you truly want to be well, then you must treat your body well. And this water is a gift from God that Fred took and has shared with all of us. And I thank him, and I love he and Doris dearly. And I'm going to back out and just listen.
Thank you very much.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Gilbert from California. I was driving, and I have 2 questions. You have the number for the listen. I didn't get that, and I wasn't able to take it because I was driving.
Okay.
And also, I would like to know, where do you get it? How much is it? And give me some details.
Okay, I'll give the number, and then I'll let Fred comment on how you get it. The number again for the recorded call is 712 712-432-6099. Again, that's 712-432-6099. And the access code is 129555 £. Again, 129555 £.
Okay.
And contact me on my email, TOH at leadhill, LEADHILL.net, and let me communicate with you. We've basically just doing an introductory thing here for about the last year, just to get the water introduced to people, and we've not got a marketing plan per se set up. So if you'll contact me, well, I'll talk to you individually about that.
Okay, now the purple is for internal, and the green is for the red and green is for what?
Or the red-green is for the drinking purposes. You mix a tablespoon of it to a gallon of your regular drinking water, preferably non-chlorinated, and it'll energize that whole gallon of water, and drink as much of it as you like. Now, one of my red-green bottles those are 24-ounce bottles, and they'll make 50 gallons of water, so they go quite a ways. And the purple then is used for other things, like I mentioned. If you have a pain or something like that, you can hold that up to the pain, and most of the time it'll go away. We've had migraines, and let me tell you, Mayo Clinic hasn't solved the problem with migraines, but we've had migraines go away when people hold that bottle up to their head, and we're quite excited about that. And like I say, we're results oriented, and results really speak to me, from an engineering standpoint.
Well, my wife has had a back surgery, and having a back surgery, they severed some nerves, and she has pain on her side, has sciatica and all of that. Will the purple take care of the pain?
Yeah, and if you'll contact me, I can send you some of my literature that'll address that, where we would recommend to her that she drink one of those purple bottles the first thing, and then get on the red-green. And there's a good possibility that she'll get some relief right away. I had a call, maybe somebody's on the call tonight, that called me today about their sister-in-law that had chronic pain for many years, and her mother had spent thousands of dollars to no avail, and she got on and she was having to take pain pills every 3 hours, and has been for I don't recall how long he said, but he said she got on the water, and the first day she broke that pain cycle and only wound up having to take pain pills one time in that first day. So it affects different people different ways. But if you'll email me, then I'll send you some literature over the email if you like, and a lot of these other people already have it. There's a reason I was saying if you'll do that.
Okay, so if I see my phone number, you will call me?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Hey, Fred, this is Donald again. Maybe if forgive me if this has been addressed, but I got a couple of calls a couple of times. Have you addressed how this sometimes helps people with memory loss?
Yeah, I think it's probably helped me more than anybody that I know. I've had some problems in that area where I maybe can remember certain things years ago, but then I would have trouble remembering what I did last week. So that seems to have improved on me, and it's also my ears have been. I've lived in a noisy environment a lot, been in communications a lot, and had tinnitus, and that seems to be being relieved too. So It just it's a long term getting there, and it's going to take some. It looks like in my case, it's going to be a long term getting out of it. But I see the improvements. Okay.
I know they say there's two signs of growing older. One of them is memory loss, and the other one kind of escapes me for the moment. I can't remember what it is.
I heard that. I can relate to that. But I want to say I really appreciate all of you people and for coming on the call. I had no preconceived ideas about what this is going to be about. I can't imagine you put up with this for 2 hours now, and I never envisioned that we could do this. But this has been so interesting because I've learned things too, and goodness knows I've got a long ways to go as far as knowing a lot of things. But we've come a long ways in these last few years, and the fact that I came out of total pain to no pain in these last 4 or 5 years has been a real remarkable thing for me. And I do thank everybody for participating in the call. And I appreciate all the accolades. I do put my britches on one leg at a time, and I don't walk on water, but I really appreciate it, and I've learned to love a whole bunch of you, and it's been a real blessing because the reception to our water has just been phenomenal, and I hear from people that you know, they get the water, and next thing you know, they're calling me and in tears, and they've had pain for months on end, and all of a sudden the pain is gone, and just by holding a bottle up to the area where the pain was. Well, how does that happen? I don't know. I wish I did know. If I did, I could patent that and sell it all over the world. But this is the next best thing, and we're just trying to reach out, and the people that want help, well, we're going to try to do it, and we just don't have any. Nobody has wanted their money back. That's the amazing thing. We've been in this thing over doing what we're doing here now, basically with our introductory for about a year, I guess, and nobody has wanted their money back. We've had people that's ordered as many as 5 times, and so somebody is getting some good out of this thing, and the testimonies that we get back really do spur us on and let us know that we're on the right track. And even though we don't have all the answers, we're really blessed by being able to associate and see people actually healed that's just been in such pain. And I'll tell you, it's just tremendous blessing, and I want to thank every one of you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Very well.
Is there any experience on anything to do with people that have had brain tumors?
Yes, I have. And the brain is, if I read right and understand right, the brain is 70% or more water. And we've had 3 or 4 that have responded real well to situations where they've had portions of it removed at MD Anderson, and they have responded real well to the water because the water goes in and does healing, and I don't know how it does that because I don't understand all of the things about the body, but the responses that we get from those people have been remarkable, and they've testified to the fact that they've been blessed tremendously, and it's helped them a lot. So I just kind of have to leave it at that, you know, and just anybody that has a problem like that, certainly they should give it a try. If you got everything to gain and nothing to lose, well, why not, you know?
Is there any experience as far as any reduction in the tumor itself, or do you know about that at all?
Yeah, we've had some of those. Now, a lot of your tumors are caused from aluminum poison on the brain, and Alzheimer's is basically caused from that. But tumors are often caused from nickel. Nickel is a solidifying factor in margarine, and I don't know how, unless unless we don't see as much margarine being used, I don't guess, as we did years ago, and especially right after the war. But there seems to be a lingering effect on, and I wonder, and I don't have any evidence of this, but since tumors are basically, and my mentors have pointed out that tumors are basically a lot of the cause is from nickel. I just have to think back and say, well, maybe from margarine and stuff like that after the war, that has had an effect and a lingering effect and a staying effect, much like childhood vaccinations do, and high oxygen content and a high oxygen infusion into the body seems to remove those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I'll send you an email then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Donald?
Yes, sir.
This is Chuck. Hey, what did we decide about the frequency of the calls, or?
That's entirely up to Fred here, and I don't know what kind of a schedule that he wants to do. I'm sure that we'll be doing something, whether it's regularly scheduled or once in a while. That's entirely up to Fred.
Well, isn't it true, Donald, that your recorded call will remain up on your service for a month?
It will, if it will remain there for a month, and if we record again, it will replace that recording. There are I'm not real good at internet and stuff. I just know the basics. But if a person goes into the back office of this, they can find the reference number and even retrieve this one up to that month. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even if we record over it. So.
Well, I'm like a lot of the other people on here. I have really gotten a lot of good information for myself personally, and I believe that this call is extremely valuable. And I want to thank you, Fred.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm willing to be available as if there is a need, a desire, I'm willing, because I like to help people. I don't want to. I'm not set up to build a kingdom or anything like that. But if I can be of help and the demand is there, I'd be glad to come on and chat with you and tell you what little I know. And from my own experience, that's all I can do. I don't know how to do otherwise, So
I'd like to
go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead. Somebody had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Lawrence Wilson from California. I've been in computers forever. I'd be glad to help you with anything that you need concerning computers, internet, hardware, software, websites, blogs, anything. So if you need any help, just contact me, and I'll be glad to help you. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we did.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, well, that's very nice sentiments. Thank you very much. Fred?
Oh, one more thing. I can store the conference calls forever on my server if you'd like.
Very good.
Sounds like, Donald, sounds like you got a combination there that might really prove to be good for the future,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Hey, Donald, this is Paul. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yes, sir, Paul.
Yeah, I really appreciate Fred's humility. It's through the years in studying nutrition, I've met a lot of healers and a lot of people into natural medicine, and the real good people that have really helped a lot of people. They're the ones that always seem to be so humble. So Fred's humility is a really good characteristic. I wish I was I'm humble most of the time, but sometimes I get on my high horse. But Fred's humility is really sensed, and it's a pretty incredible trait to have. And then I want to say too, basically, to people, if they just keep one thing in mind, and if they, I guess now it's time to get on my high horse a little bit. But if you want to know where disease comes from, there really is not a disease in the body that is not curable, or a condition of the body that is not curable. That is my belief. Now, people sometimes get trauma where they become paralyzed. That, too, in my opinion, is curable, but it's not really a disease per se. That's more of a condition. But the body gets disease from basically a couple things: lack of electricity and foreign substances in the body. Now, when you rid your body of foreign substances and then you electrically charge the body, which is what the water does, because that's what oxygen does, that's what enzymes does, that's what, whole food does, it's all electrically charged. We are electrical beings. God created everything living to be electrical. The trees, the soil, plants, the air, water is all electrically charged. So when the body is electrically charged and the foreign substances are eliminated, disease can be reversed and disease cannot survive in that body. That's basically how simple it is to understand where disease comes from and how to rid the body from disease. If you take something that's living, there's a certain kind of photography called Kirlian photography. I don't know if Fred's ever taken that type of photography of his water. It'd be really awesome to see. But Kirlian photography measures the energy source of a particular item. It could be a food, it could be water, a supplement of some sort, and tells you how much electricity comes from that. If someone was to take something like that is a foreign substance to the body, because the cells basically have the innate intelligence to either recognize something or not recognize something. If they recognize it, it's food. It utilizes it and uses it to cure and heal the body. If it's a foreign substance, it tries to store it somewhere until they can figure out what to do with it, and that's where disease starts to come in. Drugs, for example, are a foreign substance. They have no electricity. They don't create life. You can take a drug and plant it in the ground and it will not grow. You can water all you want. It will not grow. You could take something that's living and it will continue to grow again and again and again because it's electrically charged. And that's the way the master nutritionist of the universe created our bodies to be and created nature to be. So that's basically how the water works.
Yeah, I can appreciate that too. I thank you for that, because I came to understand that all food has to be converted to electrical energy for your body to use it, and the real you is electrical. And that's what we're doing, is we're working with energy levels. And
yes.
And that's the secret behind this thing is working those energy levels. And if you've got Dr. Warburg in the 30s and 40s was awarded the Nobel Prize twice for finding out that no disease could live in an oxygen-rich environment. Well, what we're really doing is when we flood the body with oxygen, then we displace the poisons out of the body and causes that body to go back into the alkaline state, and where diseases cannot live. And we just we're coming to realize a lot of things that people don't understand, but the real us is electrical. And so we won't, it's why, if you get a body that, say, has an oxygen level or an energy level, we're talking energy levels here now, of say 1,000, and you drink water that has an energy level of 1,400 or 1,600, you're going to get a refreshment, because it'll be a pickup, and that's the way it's designed to be. And I'm so basic to believe that I came out of and I have great authority on the fact that I came out of a garden. I did not come out of a chem lab, and I believe that you don't solve garden problems with chemistry.
Right.
That's just my East Texas and Arkansas understanding of this whole thing,
Exactly.
Anybody else want to talk about something?
If there's somebody maybe that's been wanting to ask a question all night, and they forgot that we said that to unmute on this phone is *7, because some people, they're pressing *6 to mute, and then they keep pressing *6, and every time it says this line is now muted, it's *7 to unmute. So if there might be somebody like that, press *7, and we'll be able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How about obesity?
Ann addressed that a while ago. Her first month on the water, she lost, I believe, 11 pounds or 13 pounds, right in there. It's not necessarily designed for that. That's one of my goals of the future is to look into that, and I believe there is a relationship here that could be built into this thing. But I'm not there yet. I have recently got some additional breakthroughs on technology like that nobody has ever had before, and it's looking real promising. But I also want to get into the situation that you're just talking about, because we have an epidemic, seem like to me, of obesity in this country, and maybe one thing that I read from people that's supposed to be in the know is oftentimes the body says I'm thirsty when it's actually, the body says I'm hungry when actually it's just thirst that is involved.
Right.
And, so I think we get our signals mixed up sometime, and I have noticed, and probably many of you that have been on the water, and of course I've been on it longer than anybody, but when I get thirsty, this water really does do a beautiful job of quenching my thirst. It's different than water used to be to me, you see. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting substance that we're working with here.
Mm-hmm. How about sleep apnea?
Sleep apnea is because of low oxygen.
Right.
And I've seen it turn around overnight. You get on my scale, the equipment that I work with, if you get the vitality, the energy level of an average person on the street is between, say, 450 and 600, and the average for oxygen is somewhere around 1,000. But my first encounter with sleep apnea was I measured the oxygen of an individual, and they had less than 300. Well, that's not enough to sustain life, but once you get a high energy water going in there, it will solve that in a New York minute. I also had a call a year or so ago from people down in Central Texas, and they had a pretty severe drought down there, and all the wells dried up, the lakes dried up, farm ponds and whatnot. But these particular people had this 2-acre lake, and it was being fed by some kind of well that kept the water in it. But all the fish died, and they contacted me and wanted to know, could I do anything about it? I said, well, I think I can, and had them to send me a sample of the water, and the water in that lake was under 300 also. And so I told them, well, the problem with your lake is that it has sleep apnea. And I said, they said, can you correct it? I said, yes. Well, we'll pay all your expenses if you'll come down here and do it. Well, I said, I don't have to come down there. Just send me a sample. Well, I had a sample of the water. I said, let me design you some water. And this is very interesting. I think this is extremely, it's almost humorous, but we talk about putting this bottle in the bathtub with us. Well, what I did, I designed some water, and I sent six bottles, as I recall, down there, and I said, go around the lake, and ever so often, well, tie one of these bottles to a fishing line or something, and toss it out 10 or 12 feet from the bank, and then tie it. and just leave the bottle, the cap on the bottle. So they went around and they put these, I think it was 6 bottles around the spaced out around the lake, and they tied them to a twig or something where they could retrieve them. Well, I said, in a week, I'd like for you to go out in your little boat and center the pond, the lake, and take a sample of water. And when they did, this water had already elevated to a very high level, because the oxygen migration from those bottles had already crossed over in the middle of the pond. And I said, you want to prove that it will support fish life now, go down to Walmart and buy you $1 goldfish and put him in get a jar of that water and just put him in there. Well, the husband, he was kind of skeptical, and he said that fish will be dead in 30 minutes. And well, anyway, the fish didn't die, and he kept thriving and whatnot. But anyway, it took us less than a week to turn that pond around. And so we've that's one of the things that we know how to do, is to clean up waterways, and there's a terrific demand for it, and it all has to do with oxygen and putting the right amount and the right spacing in these waterways, and for fish farms, for shrimp farming and stuff like this. This is they fight diseases all the time. Well, then oxygen displaces those diseases, those poisons, because as soon as you expose that water to a high level of oxygen, the oxygen goes to work on the pathogens, and it will get rid of the pathogen and clean up the ponds. I saw that in my own ponds there in Arkansas. So your body too is what, maybe 60-70% water. It's not a great deal different than those ponds. And if you treat it just right and get your oxygen level up, I think you're going to have much better control in the area of weight and all. And I know after I got pretty well seasoned on the water, then my weight dropped down to I'm about 6'5", and it dropped down to around 200, 205, and it's been that way now for the last 3 or 4 years. And so I think a lot of that is strictly because of the oxygen level and all, and I'm able to metabolize my food and stuff like that even better. Right. And that's just my own personal evaluation of me. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right. Well, it's wonderful. Everything sounds so. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Well, I'll be the first to order some tonight.
Well, I hear people say all the time, well, I can't believe it, and it's just remarkable. Well, they tell me what happens, and I sometimes play that record back to them. Well, I can't believe this. I didn't know this water would do that, and we're still finding out. We've not arrived. I don't mean for a moment that we've arrived. We're scratching the surface on this thing, and we're getting some newer revelations. And I'd like to point out something too that I believe that is real apropos, and we need to understand this, and especially on. We get into this water, you're going to get exposed to a high level of oxygen, but it takes your body a time to season, and I don't know just how long that time is, but once the body is seasoned or permeated, if you will, throughout, well then you have literally arrived at the fountain of youth, and I think in my own personal evaluation of this thing, I may be older than I was 4 years ago, but I'm not older in my looks and my step and stuff like this as I was 4 years ago. I think we found the fountain of youth here as far as my own personal concern, and I'm going to live in that whether anybody else does or not. But it sure is affecting me. I don't move around like an old timer, and I don't find anywhere in the Bible that says that you got to be sick to die. I'm just that basic, and I believe the water is just going to, you can't reverse the aging process until you stop it. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get older in years, but it doesn't mean that you've got to be older in body. Is my evaluation of it.
Right, right.
I'm sorry.
Well, wonderful.
Hey, Fred, I have a question. It's Donald again. If you could only have observed this if you have somebody that, like a doctor, a medical doctor or something who is holistic in outlook and who you know, but I just wonder if this has ever been observed where, sometimes when someone gets in an accident and they'll be in a coma for a period of time, I just wondered if this was put in their intravenous feeding. I just wonder, has that ever been observed?
Well, I work with...
May I make a comment? Can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay, I have been an ardent fan of Gary Null for a long time. Have you heard of him?
Yes,
I believe I have, yes.
In one of his classes, he was asked that he told that a woman called him and she was in tears. She says, "My daughter went into coma and they want to pull the plug on her. They don't think she's ever going to get well and all." And he says, "Tell the doctors to put oxygen in her brain. Insist on it, because they will not do it unless you insist. And since she's at that stage, it doesn't make any difference because they think she's pretty well gone anyway." And so they did put oxygen in the brain, and the next, I don't know if it was the next day or right away, but it was very soon, she came out of the coma, perfect health. And so that answers your thing there. I was thinking that, and I thought, well, gee, I just can't go say that. But here it is in relation to it, and comes from Gary Null. He's the foremost authority in that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I've got a book of his. I'm pretty sure it's he's done some lectures on PBS, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he does a lot of lectures. In fact, sometimes it's every year. He writes a book. He donates that to that program and doesn't get paid for it, but it boosts his sale and puts it out. It's kind of a promotion sales for him. And he never charges anybody that calls him for a medical diagnosis. He has never charged, he says. And of course he does suggest his products and things like that. Mm-hmm. But he never charges for any diagnosis.
If that may be the Gary North that I know, and it seemed like he lived, in Arkansas maybe at one time.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
He's in New York City now that I know of, and I know he has a place in Florida.
Okay.
Those are the two places I know of.
That would be if that's the same Gary North. He used to be a stockholder in a company that I owned at one time.
It might be. I mean, I can't say it isn't. I know he's been in this field a very long time.
Right.
So if that can fit, because he's got a long standing in that field.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you came on and shared that with us. But it's really interesting. I'd love to talk to him sometime about it. I've gotten some later technology breakthroughs that kind of confirms what you're talking about, and I'm going to lay pretty low on some of that because it's not something that'll attribute long life to you, but we're
that's changing, but not fast enough.
But anyway, I'm seeing some things that I'm not free to share here tonight. But we're getting some breakthroughs. It's going to be very interesting in the future. Let's put it that way.
Well, what you're talking about, I have for it'll be 13 years now that I had an accident where they gave me 2% chance of living. my lungs collapsed, and they just didn't think I was going to make it, and they weren't going to do anything. But my neighbor said if she has 1% chance, give it to her. And so they kept me alive for a week, and when I came out of the coma, I went into respiratory, and everything right now is very, very, very hard for me to do. I walk down the block, and then I have to rest. I do one or two things, and then I have to rest. And sometimes I get to sleep, sometimes I get to sleep 9 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm really looking forward to getting some of this, because I've just taken everything, and I'm still where I am. Everything here is just a teeny bit, and then it's almost like it's not doing anything anymore, and I'm stymied because normally I have had 5 near-death experiences, and I have rallied from them, and I cannot do. It's like I'm blocked from helping myself now. And
well, I believe there's help for all people in this. It sounds like we're promoting fish oil here, or snake oil, snake oil or something. But and when Ann came on board some months back, well, I asked her about it. Does she think I'm promoting snake oil? And then the first thing you know, she's telling me about stuff that this water is doing for her that I had never anticipated. Yeah. So I wish I could say what all it would do for people, but I know one thing, that nothing seems to survive much without oxygen, and when you put a lot of it in there, it sure does a lot of good, and the body seems to be able to handle it regardless of what level it is. The body is just designed to handle it. I guess if there's too much, it gets rid of it. If it's just right, it'll utilize it. It's really remarkable. I'm awestruck on a daily basis with this.
Absolutely. Well, the fact is that if they didn't put me on oxygen, I would have been dead. So there goes one of your proofs.
Right.
Really, and I don't have to be sold on it because I already know that.
Right.
I just don't know where am I going to get this from, and someone sent me that this is a call I might be interested in, and I believe he's a gentleman. Did someone get on and said that they could help you with your computer things?
I heard a man from California talking to
right.
That was Lawrence.
That Lawrence is the one, and please accept his help. He is par excellent. He is known as a computer man, and he knows what he's doing. He can shape up anything you want. He will go for your instructions, and he can go into your computer and then fix it, and fix your problems and then get out. I mean, he's amazing.
Wonderful.
So, do take him up, and he's a genuine person also. He's not one of these, I'll help you and then, I'll make $1 million. And he's real, true blue kind of person.
Well, stay in contact with whoever invited you to this call, so that because I'm sure we will be having another call. I don't know just when, but stay in contact with whoever invited you.
Oh, well, hopefully I'm going to send an email so that I can get on your list and, do my form of...
well, you can email me and I can help you get on the water unless you have somebody else that's already doing that for you.
No, I don't. So,
okay.
What is your email again, please?
TOH.
Yeah.
At Leadhill, LEADHILL.net.
The TOH is top of hill.
Yes.
You said that yesterday, so I'm not taking credit for thinking of that. That's the Fred original.
Well, I had it wrong. I had already sent him an email and it came back, so.
Okay. TOH T. Tom, O. Oscar, H. Henry.
Right.
At Lead Hill. L is in Lima, E is in Edward, A is in Adam, D is in dog.
Right.
Hill. Hill, Hill, just like anybody's Hill. At leadhill.net.
Okay. Very good.
That'll get me.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. They need some of your oxygen in it, don't they?
You're right. You think about biblically too. You know, we've mentioned that a few times. That I recall back in, I think it's Genesis 4, maybe. He said, "Let the waters bring forth," and that seems to still be apropos for today. I tell you, waters are bringing forth death in a lot of areas.
And the living water. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, you get some living water in there where you're going to reverse a lot of things.
Very good.
Who drinks by me will never die.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I know one gentleman that was on this call tonight. I don't know if he still is, but he's got on his farm, he's got springs with been tested some of the finest water that's available. So I think some of that water needs to be mixed with some of this, and you could have a winner.
Amen. Donald, you need to call me tomorrow or let me know, and I'll chat with you. Do we still have anybody still holding on here?
Yes, this is Lawrence. I'm blushing from head to toe.
Well, let's turn Lawrence loose. What do you think?
Oh, he's got 1,000% from me. And
Okay.
I think he knows that because he's just wonderful.
We've still got 34 folks on the call.
Wow. I can't believe this. What's the matter with you people? Don't you sleep at night?
That's part of our problem.
That's why we called.
Well, I'm honored, and I'm going to have to send a quarter to Cindy in Arizona, and then to Ann up there, and because and Yumna, they come on there with a commercial about Fred that I just I got to pay them for that, don't I?
That's
Oh, that's funny.
It's my pleasure to share this great gift.
Well, I'll tell you, it's my pleasure to know you people. I don't know if we'll ever see each other, but I'll tell you, I feel like I know a bunch of you already because we've done got pretty upfront and personal in a lot of ways, really, haven't we?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, we sure have.
Yeah. I just sent an email to the address you gave me, but I'm kind of thinking about this more and more. I asked you earlier about this brain tumor situation.
Yes, sir.
How soon could somebody order something? Like, can it be expressed or something?
What part of the country are you in?
It would be don't worry about I'm in Washington, but this would be in Kansas.
Okay, well,
I've got a friend of mine's mother who's got a brain tumor that's not doing well at all, and it's very serious. I'm just wondering if there's enough time to try to help.
If you will call me or email me, and I'll call you and remind me of this conversation. I've got something I can share with you on that. I think that will be real edifying to you.
Yeah, I did that about an hour ago. So you've got two emails, one on me, and I said, "The heck with me. Let's try to help her."
Yeah, I've got an idea for you that I'd like to run by you, and let's see if we can help her. I'm working some total impossible situations right now, and they're those that you have everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Exactly, that's it. Exactly.
Well,
would it help, Fred, in this gentleman's case, to resend that email and put in the subject line urgent, or?
This is Gary from Washington. That's what's on both subject lines, and it's also the second one has the deal about the brain cancer, or tumor, excuse me.
You say it's
Gary. Diabetes. Getting.
You say it was Gary in Washington in the subject line?
Yes, sir. I had it both there. First one was Agent Orange and diabetes,
Okay.
And what about that other one? I sent the second one, the same subject line with Gary Washington, but then I asked a question about brain tumor.
Yes, we definitely need to talk.
I would appreciate it. I put my phone numbers on the first email, both that and the cell, both.
Okay, it may,
No. You take credit cards?
No, I'm just a country boy here.
How about a Western Union?
We'll do that. Cash check, postal money orders, whatnot. Just sign the blank check and send it to me. Just whatever turns you on.
You've got a humor, don't you?
That's to keep them young.
Did you say you don't take Western Union cash?
Well, yeah, but don't pay a lot of extra for transferring it. Just if you get water you order water from me today, I can't send it out until Tuesday now because the post office is closed until Tuesday because of the holiday on Monday. But I send it out the priority mail in the little bulk boxes and whatnot. It takes about 3 days, just about anywhere in the U.S.
I was talking about this one. I'm talking about on the tumor. I just didn't get it express. I just wondered about UPS or FedEx or something.
Well, we can do that, but it's going to Kansas. Probably 2 days it'd be there. But I mean,
you get next day afternoon delivery.
Yeah, it might be a little pricey, but
no, it'd be worth it. Believe me.
But
if it saved her life, I don't care.
But I also need to talk.
He's about
to you.
80 years old or so, I think. But
I need to talk to you privately about another possibility in conjunction with this, and let's put the two together because I think we have a terrific opportunity of success there if we'll do this thing just right.
That'd be
but
great.
I'd like to talk to you privately about it. I don't want to do it over.
Is that 903 number?
Yes.
Okay. When would you like me to call, or did you want to call me? I put my numbers on the email letter on the first one.
Okay, I can. If we get off of this call, I can call you tonight. But
that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Just use the first number. I think the one that ends in 97.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how many emails I'm gonna have if I crank that thing up, but I'll try to respond to everybody. I don't know that I'll do everybody tonight, but I'll work on it over the weekend here, and we'll get as much of this accomplished as possible. And
I really appreciate it. I wanted to order it myself, but I just thought this to me was a priority for the lady.
Okay. Yeah, we'll respond to that, and hopefully we're right on the right track. I believe we are. I'm collecting data on this new technology, and everything is looking superb so far.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time. I don't mean to interrupt, and God bless you, and I'll wait to hear from you then.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question for you, if I may, please.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm with a group that every Thursday they have an alternative healing authority on, and I don't know, would you be willing for me to give your name to them to ask you to be on some Thursday?
Well,
it would be about from 9:30 to 10:30 or something like that at night.
Yeah, well, I would be open to it if you think I can be of any help to them.
Well, I will I will bring this up and let them decide for themselves. I don't speak for anybody but me.
Uh-huh.
And of course I did today for Lawrence. And
well, I'm here to, I've gotten some good information, and what I have that I'm sharing with everybody here tonight is I want to make it available. I'm not going to keep it to myself at all, and hope that we can.
This is exactly what we need on the planet now, because we have been gouged so badly from so many different ways that someone that's for real in giving us something that's not charging us an arm and a leg is going to be a real treat for so many, especially now.
You think about this now. One of my bottles of water will make about 50 gallons. Okay, you go into the store and buy. You got to have 7 16-ounce bottles for a gallon. Well, what do you pay for a 16-ounce bottle? Maybe a 75 to $1.25, $1.50, maybe. So if you put 7 of those together to make a gallon, you're talking $7 or $8. Even if you paid $50, I'm not saying that's what the price is. Even if you paid $50 for a bottle of this water and it makes 50 gallons, that's $1 a gallon, okay? So my point is, our water is inexpensive at any price, but it's not cheap.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering if you said that we could send you a blank check. Can you give us your address and tell us also the amount?
Did you say a blank check?
Well,
no, well, you don't send me a blank check, darling, because if somebody got hold of it, they might bankrupt you. That was just a pun I was making. So
okay, but can you give us an amount so that we could send an order in by mail or not?
Well, do you have email?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you email me and then let me get back with you, and I'll need to ask you about 2 questions to see which water that we need to send you, whether you want one purple or 2, depending on any kind of condition you're trying to overcome, and we can talk to you just a little bit about that. And like I say, we've got until Tuesday at 4:00 if we're going to send through the mail, because that's when the mail goes out again, you know. So we got plenty of time. If you don't mind, email me or call me or give me your number, and then I'll call you sometime over the weekend, and we'll get you squared away.
Okay, thank you.
I don't mind people asking questions all night, but I'm kind of anxious for you to be able to have a little time to begin to tend to that lady's situation, that tumor. So
okay,
we have been on here 2.5 hours. About no more, closer to 3, I guess.
Almost 3, but I don't want to shortchange anybody. I'm fine right now, and I will.
It can't be shipped tonight anyway, you know.
No.
Yeah, the line is open. I mean, there's no time limits on the call.
Okay, and we still got people holding, you say?
Let me check and see how many. 30 participants.
30?
Yes, sir.
Man. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I've tried to be just as truthful as I know how to be, and if I've misstated anything along the way, well, that's just the human in me, but it wasn't intentional for sure, because I don't want to mislead anybody, but we've got a hold of a very interesting thing that nobody's ever done in the history of this world that I know anything about. And things are working, and we're trying to share and whatnot. So if anybody got any other questions, well, let's see what they are, and if not, well, we'll call it off, and I'll go talk to our friend in Washington.
Hey, Fred, this is Paul in California.
Yes.
Awesome call. You did an outstanding job. I'd like to know if it's possible to get a way to contact Lawrence, like email. I'm in California too, so is that okay?
If Lawrence is not on the line, I can give you his email address.
That would be excellent. Thanks.
Okay. It's L-A, all lowercase, L-A-W dot.
L-A-W dot.
Computerman.
Computerman,
I believe it's at Gmail. Let me just check that. Yeah, at gmail.com.
Gmail, so law.computerman@gmail.com.
Right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I remember him he's gotten water from me before.
Yeah, he recommended it to me and sent me the reminder of this phone call tonight.
It's kind of interesting. I sent one of my friends in California some water, and he said I'm going to send a bottle of it to a friend down in the L.A. area, best I recall. And he said the man has gout, and I believe he told me that his feet had swollen for the last 6 years. Nothing would help him, and he had to buy shoes twice the size that he needed in order to even have shoes to walk around with. Well, he got the water, and he called after he'd been on the water for one 24-hour period. He called. My wife answered the phone, and he was kind of excited. He said, "I've been on your water for 24 hours, and all of the swelling is gone," and said, "I can put my shoes on for the first time in all that time." And I was more shocked than he was. I didn't know that this stuff would do stuff like that, you know.
Well, if it will help me, I've been like this for 13 years with no energy and breaking down whenever I do what would be normal stuff, and I have to start all over again, and it's getting a little old here.
Well, your problem is you're loaded with poisons, and you got to get rid of poisons because poisons will sap your energy.
I've been detoxing pretty much all this while.
Yeah.
So I just don't know.
If you don't get detox like you want to, have you experienced our water yet?
No.
If you get on it, and over a period of time, if you don't get what you're needing out of it, you don't get the results you need, well, then you need to contact me, and I can help you get on through that. Whenever I help somebody detox, they understand what detoxing really is.
Oh, that would be great, because I've tried. I mean, I've had monoatomic stuff. I've tried, all kinds of alternate stuff.
Yeah.
And it helps me for a week or so, and then I'm right back where I was. And I'm holding my patience because I know all in due time, and it does me no good to get upset.
Well, I think there's help there, so don't give up yet.
I'm hoping not.
Anybody else? Am I the only one that's left?
No, I had to take another call again, but I'm back.
Okay. I was just asking, has anybody else got anything? Like the auctioneer, going once, going twice, and bingo. But if everybody's satisfied, well, Don, go ahead.
We appreciate you, and I find that there are world servers coming out of the woodwork now, and I am so grateful to see that.
Wonderful.
Because that's what I call
Fred? Hi, Fred.
Yes.
This is Maureen from Arcata.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi. I just talked to Karen, my friend, John.
Yes.
Who's got the cancer, and they both fell asleep, so they didn't get it on the call, but they're definitely going to be on. I've just been hanging on because I can't get off. This is amazing. I love listening. But what she said was, and when you talk about the acid reflux, I went and got my tablespoon. I took 2 tablespoons for acid reflux, so I'll let you know how that goes. But she said that he's had a sore throat for the last 4 days. Now, he's doing radiation, and I ordered more purple bottles today, and I'm going to get him talking, or I'll let Karen talk to you about whatever you guys want to talk to. But what should I tell him? I told Karen just now, I called while I was off, to see if they were on. And she said he had a sore throat, and I told him just every few hours give him a full tablespoon of red and green.
Okay.
Would that be all right, or what else?
Yeah, that's not going to hurt him. You can give him, you got some of the purple, or you can even mix that in there with it.
We're out of the purple. That's why I ordered more.
Oh, okay. Well, we talked earlier today, I think, didn't we?
Yeah. You called me about the number, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
But we also, let's make sure we get help to him. I think I mentioned it to you over the phone. So
yes.
don't let it don't let it fall by the wayside.
No, it's not.
Okay.
There was one gentleman.
So should I have him call you tomorrow?
That'll be fine.
I'll have Karen give you a call.
Okay.
But definitely, I just told her, I said, Karen, just give him a tablespoon like every couple hours. I said, can't hurt, just do it.
That's
and
right.
So she didn't even know he had a sore throat until he just said something. Just now, he's had it for 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
So.
There was
Anyway,
one gentleman.
okay, good.
There was one gentleman on earlier that sure needed it because you put somebody to sleep earlier, Fred. I heard about it.
You heard him snoring?
I did earlier in the evening.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you, Fred, and I'm thankful the Lord's using you for this. And I know Ina was on. I got to hear Ina. I don't know if she's still on, but I'm thankful.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
We'll get more people on. All right. Well, I'll sign off, Fred. I'll be one of your 30 to sign off so you can.
Well,
I was taking notes. I got through cleaning an office, and I had to pull in a parking lot and start taking notes. So I decided I better just drive home.
Okay, when Donald says it's over with, it's over with. Okay.
Well, it's your
Is it
call.
over?
We can leave that up to Fred.
Well, if anybody has anything else, well, now's a good time. It's coming up on right now 10 o'clock here in Central Time Zone. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? If not, well, then I'll turn it back to you, Donald.
Well, thank you very much, Fred, for this fascinating presentation. We very much enjoyed it. And thank you for all of you folks that came to listen, and the participation, the testimonials. Everything was wonderful, and I look forward to another call in the near future.
Okay, well, you get it set up. Thanks a lot. You get it set up or whatever. Or you think there's interest and you want to do it again? Well, we'll set up and go again.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.